good Friday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. My name is Colin Worthington. My guest I'll introduce you to here in just a second. Election Day is coming up in November. Qualifying for a lot of local races was about a couple weeks ago, so we're going to start doing these shows where we're interviewing the candidates. A lot of candidates this year. I think there's more than we've had in local races for several years. In Villa Rica, for example, there are 4 candidates for mayor. We're going to interview each and every one of them. I've put out invitations to all of them. So far, 2 have confirmed the dates. We've got Kendrick Davis, who's one of the qualifiers. He'll be on the program next Wednesday. This morning, we have Mac Pilgrim, again, one of 4 candidates. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let us find out. First of all, give us a little brief bio of Mac Pilgrim. Who is Mac Pilgrim?
Well, I am... with regards to this race, I was born and raised in Villa Rica. Went to school there, graduated from Villa Rica High School in 1992. I continued with my education at West Georgia. At the time, it was West Georgia College. It became University of West Georgia before I would, actually graduated. I think I was the second graduating class with a university label. And then I went on to John Marshall Law School, and I completed there in 2000. Worked for a few years, about 5 years or so. Got married, had kids, bought a house in Carroll Canyon, Villa Rica. And then in 2006, I decided to come back home and work for myself. So I've been self-employed since July 1st of 2006.
You have a couple billboards out there.
I do, and hopefully there'll be more to come. But very, I got long, deep roots in the Villa Rica community. My mom still lives there, same house since 1977. I have other family members throughout the community and they live there, so I've got a lot of ties.
I was fiddling with these knobs, so I didn't mention that we are on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page this morning. If you want to check out my guest and post some questions up there, maybe make some comments, and I'll look at those periodically through the program. All right, what's the motivation to be mayor?
I think it's a timing thing for me. I've always been about service. I have given to my community in different ways. I've worked as a volunteer recreation coach. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I have been involved in the school systems and the schools where my children have attended, both of which graduated from Villa Rica last May. So I feel like it's a service calling for me to give back, and I think it's a very pivotal time for our city.
What do you think? Well, according to the charter, to the Villa Rica charter, what is the actual role of mayor? Because some cities, a mayor can vote and has other responsibilities. But for Villa Rica, what would the role be?
The day-to-day operations of the city is performed by the city manager based on the charter. The mayor can vote in certain situations, depending on the number of people attending on city council. Depending on whether it's a tie, they can't vote. However, the mayor, in my opinion, and maybe this is getting away from the question, I don't mean to do that, but is that it is a leadership role. It is a face and voice of the people. It is to lead the city and its citizens in a way, first of all, that they can be proud of. Secondly, that is in the direction that is in the best interest of the community. So not necessarily the charter question, but I think what the role of the mayor is.
Well, and that's it. I mean, you hear that a lot, the face of the city. And
yes.
That's kind of what we expect out of it. But, I mean, not everybody knows that. I mean, they think it's, because I tend to go to the mayor for comments, for stories and things like that, even though the mayor may not have had a vote in something.
Yeah.
But,
well, and I think some people also, and maybe I clarify this for some people, this is a part-time job. See, mayor isn't a full-time job. It's I will not quit practicing law. I still have a law firm. I got a business to run. I got 2 kids in private college, so I'm still going to be working. But I feel that I have the time and the energy necessary to do the job as mayor, and I'm involved in the city in a lot of different ways already. So I feel very, very much capable of doing it.
Well, you did say you do have the time. I mean, you have a full-time job.
I do.
I mean, and you're up early in the morning sometimes. You get to travel to different counties for the work you do. I mean, do you really believe you do have the time to do this, to be at all those meetings? Because some of those meetings are long, and Joel will attest to that.
I do. I believe I can be involved in a level that is necessary to do the job. Of course, I've never done it, so I'm speaking of something I guess I'm prognosticating, but it's one of those things where, yes, I think I can. I think I'm involved enough, and I think if you have an open line communication between City Hall and the mayor, I think that stream of information can keep the mayor abreast on the day-to-day operations. And my office is literally steps from City Hall. I can see it out my window.
Mac Pilgrim is one of 4 candidates running for mayor of the city of Villa Rica, and he's our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. I always ask, hey, what's your motivation for running? I'll ask that of every candidate. And I think they're hesitant for the most part to say, well, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, and I want to change that. I mean, are there any kind of issues that you've seen over the last couple of years that you're like, you know what? I would have done that differently, and it would have made a big difference.
I can. As a lifelong resident, I've watched our city grow throughout my lifetime. It has probably gone from 3,500,
3,500. Wow.
citizen hamlet, if you will, to, it's a city of about 16,000 now. And there are a lot of growing pains that have come along with that. But one of the things in the last 4 to 5 years that has really concerned me, and I think this is concern of a lot of citizens, is density and the multifamily dwellings, the promulgation of those inside the city limits and what it's going to do to the city as a whole. And I put on my Facebook page for just recently, Mac for Mayor, by the way, on Facebook. But I put on there about it really is sort of the soul of the city, I think, in play. I think that if you lose the sense of community and the sense of hometown and the sense of a place where people know each other and care about each other to a place where people just lay their heads occasionally for a few years and move on to somewhere else, I think that's the soul of your city's at stake, and I think we're battling for that, and I think we have to find some way to balance that, and I haven't seen that in the last few years. It just seems as if if it's presented, it's approved, and it's approved, it's built, and I'm concerned about that.
Say about a decade ago, I remember there was talk about Billerica. A decade ago, there was talk about Billerica being 30,000 population by 2020. And then that kind of petered back. Everybody pulled back those statistics, but they brought them back up again. And maybe in the next 5 years even could add 4,000 more units.
That's possible.
Yeah.
There are currently, and I'm this off the top of my head, but there are currently approximately 5,000 either townhomes or multifamily units approved within the city limits as we speak.
Well, when would you support those projects? What would make you support a project like that could add population?
For instance, the Fuqua development group out of Atlanta is developing a project along, I'm old, I'm going to call it Pumpkin Town. Everybody else calls it Mirror Lake Boulevard. I call it Pumpkin Town Road, Liberty Road, whatever you want to call it. I actually voted in favor for that, and there are some multifamily.
You're on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes, there are multifamily dwellings attached to that, and the reason I did that was if you're going to give us multifamily dwellings, if there's going to be density, bring some commercial with that, and commercial brings jobs, commercial brings SPLOST dollars, commercial brings taxes from people working there. It gives us opportunity to develop other restaurants and those sort of things. If you're going to bring us that, bring some commercial with it. And that is an area where I would support that. I thought as a whole that plan was if you're balancing, I thought that was on the good side. But some of the others, not so much.
Billerica recently, about a year ago, asked voters to decide whether the city should be able to permit alcohol sales, liquor sales, spirits. And they're in the process of right now, I guess there are people asking to set up. There's several qualifications. What do you think about the qualifications for those? Where do you think they should be built? How big should they be, maybe? What would your requirements be? I
actually was on part of Planning and Zoning Commission, and we don't get to decide anything. We just simply gave recommendations to the council. Yeah. But I'm not opposed to that. For years and years, we have watched tax dollars roll out of the city limits of Billerica to such as liquor stores here in Carrollton or in Buchanan or in Douglasville, and those are tax dollars that could be kept in town and used in town. So I think, to me, it is a good idea. Now, how it was done, I thought some of the requirements, they're standalone, they have to be X number of square feet. I don't have a problem with that because I think alcohol is still considered a vice, and in doing so, you help to make sure whoever invests does so in a way that's going to enhance the community, not draw from it. So if you put these requirements in. Now, I'm not so certain about the quadrant issue that they're making you do in a certain part of town. I'm not a super fan of that. However, I don't have a problem with limiting the number that we have per citizen. That ratio.
It's 4 right now, 4 quadrants?
It is 4 quadrants, correct. That's correct.
Do you feel like, I'm sure there is a constituency in Billerica who might be offended by that.
There are
old school Christian churchgoers who are offended by that, and would that be enough to dissuade them from supporting a candidate, you think?
I don't know. Remind them that Jesus' first miracle was turning water into the wine for the wedding.
But they have that at Kroger.
That is true, which we don't have yet. Which I'd be a fan if we did get one.
Mac Pilgrim's our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. One of 4 candidates running for mayor for the city of Billerica. November 7th is election day. That was a 3-week period for early voting?
It is, and you can check out the Villarica City website for the city. You can also check Carroll County Board of Elections. There are dates that, and I believe right now, and again, this is beyond my ability to control, early voting is taking place at the College Street Board of Elections. As far as I know, early voting is. We can check as early as, I think it begins October 8th or 9th, I believe.
But you don't think there's a like 1 week early voting for Villarica?
Yes, there is 1 week, but
Okay.
the larger 3 week is in Carrollton. Yes,
All right.
sir.
We'll take our first break. Again, if you're watching us on the News Talk 1330 Facebook page, post some questions and comments, and I will share those during our next segment. Community Voice is brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
The AP Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined advanced placement curriculum track to earn a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically prepared students to pursue college-level studies throughout 17 AP courses in 5 subject categories while enrolled at OMA. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
842, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also this morning on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. Plenty of you have already checked in. A lot of shares of this morning's program. Also, Ashley Halsey called to reprimand us about the elections office. It's not actually, they've moved it from the College Street location because that's where they're going to put that brand new admin building. Right now it's Noonan Road, the old WGTC building.
It is what we knew as West Georgia Tech, at Carroll Tech, across the street from the sheriff's office is where it's at now. And I apologize. I knew they were building a new building and just slipped my mind.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. Tyler Paul Smith has checked in. He says, Mac Pilgrim, great American. Jay Collins, probably similar voice too. He says, great Villarican. And Christy Chastain says, are there any, here's a question from Christy, are there any items in the budget that VR currently funds that you think need reviewing or cut for cutbacks or expansion? And if expansion, how would you fund it without increasing city taxes?
And without being privy to the books, which I obviously am not, I am a big fan of recreation, and the reason for that is because, well, some of it's self-serving. I enjoy sports, always have, but also as a child, I participated. Some of the best memories I have are participating in recreational sports. But I think it's a introduction. It's a welcome mat to citizens that they may not ever know who works at the water plant. They might not ever know who the captain on the police department is. They might not ever know who runs, the street department. But they know what their experience was when they took their kid to play soccer. And they know what their experience was when their kid played t-ball. And those sort of things are part of the overall picture. Whereas, can I tell you numbers? No, I don't have them right now. But is that something I would look to expand? Yes, I would definitely look to expand that, because I think that is an introduction to the community as a whole. And that's the people, that's the citizens we would love to attract, retain, citizens who are young and have kids in sports, have kids in recreation. We can expand that recreation into more of a cultural arts and recreation. But yes, that would be somewhere I'd look to expand if we could.
Now there is a group of people I've heard in Carroll County that don't think government should be part of things like that. It should just be part of public safety and not support recreation and things along those lines. How do you feel about that?
I disagree with that. I think recreation is so vitally important. In my line of work, which many of you know, I do a great bit of criminal defense work. I see young people every day in our community, every day in our city, that if they had more of a mentorship, maybe, and I'm not telling you it's necessarily our fiscal responsibility, but I do think it's a moral responsibility that we attempt to provide that. Now, it doesn't always take, but if these young men or young women had some sort of mentorship or somebody that could look up to them. I have kids to this day that see me at a gas station. Hey, Mac Pilgrim, you coached me when I was 12 years old. Hey, I knew you were 10 years old. And you hope that you make a positive influence. And if you can make a positive influence today, 10, 15 years from now, you reap that benefit for a better citizen, hopefully.
Mac Pilgrim, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, one of 4 candidates running for mayor in the city of Villa Rica. Are you preparing yourself for a runoff?
More than likely, yes. I would love for my voters to turn out and only have one election in November 7th and win, more than 50% of the vote. However, I'm a realist, and there are 4 people, and that's not likely to happen. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I am prepared for that. I'm prepared to win the first round without overtime, if you will, if I can.
And you were the last person to qualify, too.
I was.
I mean, you may have made the decision beforehand, but you were the last to qualify. So, I mean, to see 3 candidates already there.
Well, I just felt now was the time. I was in the middle of a jury trial, actually, in Troup County, and I had to ask Judge Erica Teisinger for permission to report late because the candidacy qualifications had between Monday and Wednesday of that week, and I had to ask Erica for a little bit of a relief to go do that. So yeah, I had been debating it. Me and my wife have been talking about it. We've been praying about it. Been asking, people around the community, and I kept getting input from people saying, "Hey, you should do this. You should do this," and I felt like it's the right time to do it.
What do you think about Villa Rica's downtown? Do you think the way it's developed, the way it's developing, is it attractive enough? Are there things that you're unhappy about?
Part of Villa Rica's history is the railroad. It was there. It's the reason people rolled their stores from Old Town to the railroad. So we're tied to that. That creates some traffic and logistical issues. I think there are some things in downtown we definitely could improve. The mill is a great addition, has been a great addition. We have Gold Rush this week. We have other events. We have the farmers market and things that take place. They're fantastic events. There are other things that can be done. There's some other improvements. And again, this gets into some finance where I'm not sure where funds might be available for historic preservation or for improvement. But I do like the idea of developing downtown a little bit more as a destination, whether it be food or crafts or something. I would like to see a little bit more there.
And this one, I think you'll have to, you may not know the precise numbers on this one with this question again, but it's just still something to consider. Putting together the budget, Villa Rica is doing that this month, and last month they've been working on that and the millage rate. Initially, Villa Rica suggested they were going to maintain the millage rate. They put that out there, and they knew they had the option to roll it back later before it was finally approved. And so when it came down to approving the millage rate, they did decide to roll it back. The mayor made a speech before that explaining why he supported that, and obviously he doesn't vote on that. But as far as knowing the needs of Villa Rica and what you could do something with that extra money at this point, what's your feeling on that?
I think any time that you can meet the needs are necessary and you can give people a little bit of a break, particularly homeowners and property owners, you should try to do that. However, there has to be a balancing. There has to be a consideration of, hey, if we cut this budget by $300,000, are we going to cut services? And then ultimately it comes down to the people, the voters, to decide, are you okay at the amount you're at? Or would you like a reduction? And in doing so, you have to understand you may trade something for that. You may trade 2 jobs in the water department that if you have a water main break, they may not be as quickly to fix it as they would have with the 2 extra guys. It's a trade-off. It's a decision. I'm never an absolutist. I don't believe in absolutes. I think, unfortunately, politics in the last 25, 30 years has become absolutism, that you have to be one or the other. You can't be both, and you can't compromise. And I don't think the majority of the people and the voters feel that way. Would you let
what the county did, if the county decided to raise the millage rate or, to increase property taxes, or if a nearby city did, would you let that influence your decision at all? If Carroll County did it, that's one perspective, I guess, because Villa Rica in Carroll County, and they pay taxes to the county too. Would that impact your decision?
No, I think you got to take care of your own house, and you got to look at your own budget. You got to look at your own income flow or coming in from taxes, the amount to be paid. And so my opinion is no, I would not necessarily be influenced. Again, is it a factor? Is it something to consider? Yes, it's something to consider. But as a sole factor, just because Douglas County side of the city or Carroll County side of the city raised it, wouldn't necessarily mean we would raise it or reduce it.
And I guess my perspective was that I guess some of the politicians say, or the city council mayor will say, well, we see you guys are already paying extra taxes here, so we don't want to do that to you too.
Well, and that's again, that is a factor to consider. And again, I'm not going to say we definitely wouldn't or we definitely would. Obviously, I'm a homeowner. I'm a taxpayer. I like to have millage rate rolled back. I got the tax bill like everybody else did in Carroll County a month or so ago, and like, wow. A lot of us were shocked by the amount our homes had increased and their property tax increased. However, that wouldn't necessarily dictate what the city did.
Time right now is 8:50. My guest this morning is one of 4 candidates running for mayor of Villa Rica. His name is Mac Pilgrim. And when this program's over, it'll be on Facebook forever, so you can go back and watch it if you like. And it'll also be on our podcast form on our website at newstalk1330.com, so you can download it there. Carolyn Pilgrim checked in and says she's watching.
Thank you, Mama.
Right.
You're up early. You're retired, but you're up early. I appreciate it.
We'll take our final break right now and come back with about 8-9 minutes to talk with Mac. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
The customized academic scholar journey at Oak Mountain Academy is individually designed to provide students with a personalized, clearly defined academic track that earns the student a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically driven students to pursue a focused, rigorous course of study personalized to their wants and desires. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
851, Friday's Community Voice program here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. My name is Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is one of 4 candidates running for the mayor of City Villa Rica. November 7th is Election Day, and 3 weeks prior to that will be early voting. And on the Community Voice program, we hope to interview each and every candidate that wants to be interviewed. You've got to sit here for 28 minutes, though, so you're going to have a lot to say. But other candidates, I encourage you, not just for Mayor of Villa Rica, I encourage you to reach out to us and try to get a date to get you on the program. You can send me an email, and simply at news@newstalk1330.com. Again, got about 7 minutes here with Mac. I don't know what else we got, Mac. As far as if you're going knocking door to door, I mean, because I assume you're going to get out there and campaign a little bit. I mean, if you knock in, you got to get your foot into that door. You know, people see you coming, they just may shut it. But I mean, what are you going to tell them to engage them and to keep a conversation going with them?
In that same vein, just recently, I got my signs and the campaign things came in this week. I was able to put up just a couple in my neighborhood just recently. I literally got the signs put together last night in my garage. So if I'm stepping on somebody's door and I'm knocking to them, I'm going to introduce myself. You know, hello, I'm Mac Pilgrim. I'm running for mayor. And they're going to say, well, why should I vote for you? And the thing I would tell them is that for most of us, we tend to feel, and I say us, meaning voters, we tend to feel that there's a disconnect between our leaders and our government and us. And we feel as if sometimes our leaders and our government do not have the same interests as we do. I can tell people at their door that I care as much about the city of Villa Rica as anybody you've ever met. I have lived there. My family lives there. I started my business there. I bought my house there. I'm not going anywhere. So if you ever wanted someone to represent your interest and represent the interest in the same way that you feel, the love that you feel, I'm your guy. I'm your candidate. Can I say we're going to agree on everything? No. Can I say I'm going to toe this party line, that party line? No, I'm not going to. What I am going to do is I'm going to lead with my head and my heart and my soul for what I think is best for our community. And not just today, not just tomorrow, but 5 years, 10 years from now. I want to leave a community 10 years from now, when my children, when they become adults and professionals, they can come back to and live and raise their kids. And my grandkids can live on the other side of town. That's what I want, and that's what I hope for. And the decisions I'll make will be guided by what is in the best interest of the city as a whole, not as a few, but as a whole. I understand you can't serve everybody everything they want when they want it. I'm not foolish. But that being said, I do think you can make decisions that will guide the city in such a way as it can grow, and it's going to grow. Proximity to Atlanta, it's on I-20. We're going to grow, but can grow in a way that's responsible.
So you accept that. You accept it's going to grow.
It has to. We live 35 miles from one of the largest metropolitan cities in the country. It has grown every census since the 1940s. The metropolitan Atlanta area continues to grow. It's going to grow. We're on I-20, which is an advantage if we take it and use it that way. However, if we just allow what I consider to be less than desirable developments, we can also be the growth can come over us like a wave, and we don't know what to do with it.
Does Villa Rica take advantage of their tourism opportunities enough? Are there things that are not being promoted as much as they should? Because, I mean, I've got a couple ideas that I think I don't hear enough about. But
there are some. Former Mayor Jeff Reese, who I'm a friend of, Jeff was a real big proponent of the Gold Mine Museum, the Pine Mountain Museum, which I think is a really great idea. They have the train out there at Christmas and Halloween. Mm-hmm. My kids have been on it, and I've taken family members. Really good idea. We do a pretty decent job with some of the festivals at the mill attracting people in. However, I think there's more. I think if you look at our proximity to Douglas County and to Fayette County, the movie business in Georgia is big business. It's huge business. I believe we should be actively courting them. Hollywood money will spend just as good as local money will. And so I think we should be courting them. I think we should be using some of our natural resources, the beauty of our town, the topography around it, and I think we could be attracting. There's huge amounts of development just to the east in Douglas County, where Lionsgate's building a very large studio just off Highway 92. I think it's something we should become a little bit more aggressive about.
I mean, I know there's some acknowledgement about Coca-Cola's history with Villa Rica, but
there is.
I mean, but does Villa Rica take advantage of that enough, you think?
I don't think so. Asa Candler, which did not develop the formula John Pemberton did, but Asa Candler took it and bottled it, and then ultimately did it into fountain drinks, and then Woodruff took over, and it became the behemoth that it is. But the Candler family is still represented quite, respectfully in the city. There are many Candlers still left, directly descendants.
That quarterback at University of West Georgia.
I think he was of a descendant. Willie Candler, who does actually on Grady Communications. I think he calls a few games now. I think he's the color guy. It's something where I would like to see a little bit more development with that, if they would be willing to reach out. And again, Coca-Cola Corporate's a worldwide entity, so I don't know how much relationship they would want with a small city, but I would like to explore that.
Got about 2 minutes left. This is a question from Facebook, and I don't know how well you know the other candidates to do this, to compare yourself, to differentiate yourself from these other three candidates. You able to do that?
I honestly know Ms. McPherson slightly just from her time on the city council. I really can't. I've known Mr. McDougal, Gill, since we were kids. He and I went to high school together. I've known him since then. I do think there has been, under Leslie on the council and Gill as mayor, there's been a tone set at City Hall such that more numbers are better, and I disagree with that. Bigger is not better. Better is better, and I think that's been a tone that's been set with them. Both of them have history in the real estate business, and so I understand their professional vantage point, if you will. It's not necessarily one I say. The other young man, I've never met him. I understand he's a firefighter, but I've never met him, so I can't say.
All right, Mac, you got about 30 seconds. You want to say hi to Mom and your wife for one last word for the potential voters in Villa Rica?
I will. Thank you, Mama, for listening. Thank you, Christy, for listening. She's visiting her mother down in Florida today, so thank you for tuning in an hour earlier than usual. Hopefully my children hear this up at Barry, Ryan, and Emily. I love you very much. And folks of Villa Rica, turn out and vote. Make your voice be heard. Make a decision that you want, be a decision that happens.
Great.
And that's all I can ask for you.
Thank you, Mac. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming down this morning. And you're going to go over next door now to the ceremony over at the Veterans Memorial Park.
I am. That's going just up the road.
Okay. All right. And remember, next Wednesday, we're going to have Kendrick Davis. He is another candidate for mayor for Villa Rica. So tune in next Wednesday. Tune in every day to the Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Have a great weekend.